I feel like prospecting should be our new hobby. I just don't know if there's any mountains around here. There's hills up north, but I know there's iron in them.
There's iron in them hills.
Iron and copper mines. I don't know. I don't think there's any gold mines.
Mm-hmm.
That's just probably how we would end up lost, though. We'd probably end up as mysterious disappearances. If we ever.
I feel like we would become missing persons cases.
We would be missing 411s.
Which is the perfect topic for today, which is missing persons cases / cold cases.
Oh, cold cases.
Well, missing persons, but
I like cold cases.
If it's missing persons, I mean, it's pretty much cold case.
I like them just about as much as cold cuts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what you got. Okay, so what did you do this week?
I did the missing girls from Panama.
Panama? Like Panama Canal or?
Panama, the country. They're in a town called Boquete. Two Dutch girls. It's a very famous case. Very famous. 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Lisanne Froon and Chris Kremers.
Mm-hmm.
Kremers. They were from the Netherlands, which is Dutch. I found that out. That if you're from the Netherlands, you're Dutch. Which I always wondered if you're Dutch, what country you were from.
Right.
Netherlands. So, they went down to Panama on a 6-week stay and went on a hike one day and didn't return.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a missing persons case out of Utah. Very, very strange case.
Well, strange things happen in Utah.
Yeah, dude. Mormons, man.
They're into some bad stuff.
I was trying to type Notepad and then I ended up typing Utah in my search bar. Let me just open up my notes. I don't know. It was a pretty good story. I don't know. It wasn't as crazy as like going into FBI documents, but it was pretty interesting.
Well, it's kind of hard.
It's kind of hard trying to find cases, you know? It's much easier to just stumble upon them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right. So evens or odds?
Let's do evens again.
Oh boy. 3.
Oh, good.
Oh man, I go first.
Yep.
I was prepping for it. Well, it's a little rough, but all right. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the intro, I guess, because I don't really have a whole spiel planned out. Okay, so Dewey, Arizona, December 5th, 2015, 5 p.m. A resident calls to report a trespasser on her property. A man pulled into her driveway in a red Mazda sedan looking for a place to stay. When told no by the owner, the man took off in his car, crashing through the front gate and sped off, disappearing into the Arizona landscape. The man driving the car was 34-year-old Haruchika Miyagi, a resident of American Fork, Utah, a small town that's 568 miles away.
Sounds like he's from Japanese descent.
Very much so.
Okay, now, just to feel the
should have
culture.
The one time we have a Japanese descent guy just right there.
Every time we're talking about Japan, we'll just bring out our stamps.
We'll have to get some props.
Wave, some Shinai.
Oh yeah, it is right there. Oh man, that's another poster we could add.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
Sometime. So anyway, I have Haruchika Miyagi, as I read from the intro. I'm going to give a little backstory to this guy, just so it's not like, oh, just a random guy pulled up. So this is Haruchika Miyagi, also called Haru. That was his nickname. He was 34 years old, graduated from Utah Valley University, developed his own global trading program called Magic Stick through his own company that he founded, 4X Circle, which is a side business of another LLC he owned called Tensei Financial Group.
Wow.
Which was a side hustle of his main job as a Forex trader for a company called Iron FX, which I guess is like a super popular trading company. So basically, he was a very accomplished individual. The two businesses he started were formed in 2007, so it's not like he just formed them on a whim and then just went missing. So that's like his professional background. His social background was he produced videos teaching about trading. He was a working man with a family and financially secured life that was well accomplished and positioned for continual growth. So what led up to December 5th? Quick answer is not a whole lot. This is why the case is so weird. You have this guy who's super successful, probably stacks of cash, owns his own house, having a good life. He's making like YouTube content, teaching people how to like trade and do stuff like that. He has his multiple companies at his own that he's had for almost a decade now.
I should check out some of those YouTube videos.
I actually watched a few, and the guy is
Look legit.
What?
Did he look legit?
He looks mostly legit to me. I mean, I watched probably about five
Is he
of
like
them.
Rudy level investment or?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, just picture this, like Rudy from Alpha Investments, just disappearing and then ending up, somewhere in like Tennessee or something. Because that's like the level that it was at. So we didn't know. So this is December. Right now it's December 3rd, 2015, which was a Thursday. He didn't show up to work on a Thursday morning, so his family and friends called the authorities because they didn't know where he went.
Was he not at his family's house, or he left? He left his house, and
I think he had his own house, but like his family kind of lived. I don't think he like married. I think he was just like by himself or something.
okay, it could have been something too if he works. I know a person who they have an apartment because during the week they live in the apartment and go to work, and then the weekend they go to their other house because they work they're from a different state.
Yeah.
And my work, so it could be something like that. I wonder.
Could be something like that, but I guess it was weird enough because he worked for Iron FX, which I looked into, and it's like one of the biggest trading platforms for foreign exchange and like stock markets and stuff like that. So that was December 3rd. I'm not sure on the time, probably in the morning, and he just didn't show up, and the family found out that he didn't show up. The second being the last we ever publicly hear from Haru, a post dated on the same day, December 3rd at 9 p.m. on his public Facebook saying, and I quote, "The power of giving is important. Want to give as much as possible. It's called karma." After that, nothing. Yeah. 2 days later, December 5th, a Saturday, 5 p.m. This is December in Arizona, so I mean, it's not like snowy, but
Still gets cold.
it still gets cold. So 5 p.m., Haru drives around back roads and desert paths in his little red car before ending up in a driveway where he pulled into a lone ranch house in Dewey, Arizona, 72 miles outside of Phoenix, 72 miles north of Phoenix, 568 miles south of his hometown. So he pulls up to the driveway, and he actually opens the gate and then closes it, and then pulls up to the driveway. This is like a ranch house, like picture like Western ranch, middle of nowhere, that kind of thing. Pulls up, and this like older lady comes out, like, "How can I help you, Shani?" Something like that. And this man is like, "Can I spend the night here or something? Like traveling, I need to spend the night here." She's like, "No, but you can like go to like the motels or something in town." And he just gets back in his car and instead of,
Where do you know if they were pretty close to town then, or?
I think the town population is like 3,000 or 4,000.
Okay.
So it's not too big, but I mean it's not that bad to drive. But from what I saw on the maps, so he gets back into his car, and instead of like pulling back around to the driveway, he just floors it through like the backyard, and then just starts like driving through their property as fast as he can, crashes through a back gate, and then just zooms off.
Oh, so he doesn't break down the gate that he closed,
Right. I probably said front gate in the beginning, but it was like another gate at the end of the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
So the lady calls the police because obviously this dude just showed up and, trashed the property. Super suspicious for trespassing. Police get there around 6 o'clock, and they start searching, doing evidence and stuff like that, sending police out on patrol. And while they're on patrol, they drive past. It's called a wash. Basically think like a ditch, but it's like a dried up creek bed.
Okay.
So it's like, they call it like the never dying river, because literally when it rains, it just like picks up and like flash flood and everything like that.
All right.
So they found this car like in a ditch. The hood was all bent and smashed in. It ran into some barbed wire. They get down there, open the door, no one's in there and stuff. And all they found was like his cell phone, things like that. They later identified this guy because news stories came around, the car came up missing, and it was Haru. It's believed, the police source says believed to be, but pretty much the family confirmed that. And
dental records, anything like that?
so here's the part I think is pretty messed up. Instead of sending out like dogs and helicopters that night, they waited 4 whole days to search for this dude.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
And there's actually a crazy statistic that if you're a missing person, if you don't find them in the first 24 to 48 hours,
Yeah.
you have like a 95% chance of not finding them alive or something
Wow.
like that. It's an insanely high percentage that if you don't find them within the first day or two, then you're not going to, or you're going to find their body.
So they literally, I believe if they got some form of search party out for him, they'd probably find him alive, if not actually find him and stuff. This is like speculation now, because it's a cold case. He's most likely deceased because you don't just survive
Never found him? Then he's
missing person zone.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
And then he's most likely deceased, or the slight chance of living a new life.
Oh, maybe there's probably some theories out there that he faked his own death to.
Yeah.
He was doing some bad trading.
Well, that's part of my speculation. I mean, obviously, it's an active missing persons case. Even though the chances of him alive are slim.
How far away from civilization was the car?
It was just a few miles, because they found his car at like 7 p.m. So he didn't go very far.
Because it sounds like something, too, where if he crashed his car, he got out injured, and he just started walking.
Yeah, that's what I think happened.
He just started walking, and either, he made it, or he's probably out in the desert.
I feel like if he had a plan, he would have just drove through the opening gate he came through. But instead, he just took off through the property and just driving wherever. This is a huge ranch, too, you know, acres and acres.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my speculation is why a 34-year-old dude that's successful and has his own companies and everything would do this.
Stress could have broken him, too. You know?
Stress could have broken him. I'm hesitant to say it was like dirty trades or just bad business and stuff, because I feel like someone would have found, like authorities would have found that out. And I was reading like a cold case report on this guy, and it never once mentioned like corruption in his career. So don't know.
There's not a whole lot of that's it, huh?
I mean,
anything else other than his car?
That's the only physical evidence.
What year was this again?
This was 2015.
Oh, 2015.
So it's not like the tech wasn't there. I mean, he had a cell phone. They tried pinging a cell phone, but like it was only after he left the ranch. It wasn't like any time after. Never turned back on. Yeah. So we never knew why he drove 500 miles south to a small town with a population of less than 5,000. Or why he never popped up and most likely never will.
Why one day he just decided to take a drive.
To just leave his, assuming multi-million-dollar career and stuff.
It wasn't. It's definitely a lot of...
I feel like if it was a scam, it would have came out as a scam because, everyone in like the Utah, Arizona area heard about it. And I feel like it would have led to investigation.
Anything from the family? What is the family thing? What were the family's reaction to it?
They don't know why.
They just had no idea.
He's just like a perfectly normal dude.
Family, was it like, did he have kids and like a girlfriend, wife?
No, I think it was like his parents. I wasn't for sure on that because it just said family, so I'm just assuming parents. because I never heard mention of like a wife or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, with that, I don't know why the dude just got up and left and then drove to Arizona and then most likely died in a desert. It could be some under the table shady stuff, but I don't know. That seems like the only plausible reason what would drive a dude to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he had his company for over 10 years. He went through a recession, and I mean, 2015 wasn't a bad year for business. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, in this podcast, we don't need it. What's up?
2015 was a little.
It wasn't like a recession, though.
No, it was slowly. Everything was getting better.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you just survived the crash.
I mean, yeah, he went through like 08 and he was like college grad with all that. So, I mean, we'll never know why. But in this podcast, we don't need answers. Our imagination is going to live on like those cliffhanger moments. And unfortunately, that's where the missing case of Haruchika Miyagi ends. Most likely never to be opened again. So, yeah, kind of messed up, but it's a crazy missing persons case for sure.
Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah.
It's just like the lack of evidence. Like the only thing he posted was on his Facebook, and it was like, trying to give back to people. It's called karma, and then just, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really famous case. It's about two Dutch girls. They were in the Netherlands. They were
Neverlands.
They were college students, and they were. One of them was a volleyball player. I think it was Lisanne Kroons.
Sounds Dutch.
Yeah. No, Froon. Sorry, Lisanne Froon and Chris Kremers.
Was that close?
So they were. Like they worked at a cafe to save up money because they wanted to travel the world. They were like kind of best friends. They had found each other like the year before and kind of just hit it off. And they were like, they both wanted to travel, and they wanted to go to Panama for a 6-week vacation, or not vacation, just a 6-week travel experience. They were going to work at a hostel actually to help some orphanage kids and to help learn Spanish, the language down there
in Panama.
In Panama, yeah. So they get to Panama March 15th. They're 2 weeks around, just going around. Their thing at the hostel doesn't start until a little later in April. I think it's like a 4-week thing there. And then they get to a little town of Boquete, and they're with like what are those families called? They're with a family that's kind of taking them in.
Oh yeah, what do they call? I forget what they call those.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about though.
But there was some people who are taking them in, and they want to go on a hike, and they don't have a tour guide. They just decide to go out. They're too. Okay, this is 2014. This happened. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to get.
I thought I was picturing like 90s or something like that.
No, this is 2014. They were actually born in 91 and 92, so they're like. They would have been 21, 22, I think. Yeah, which is crazy. One of them's like, dang, like they're the same age as I was.
Yeah.
But they wanted to trek around this volcano, which was Mount Baru or something like that. And apparently there was a guide earlier that asked them that wanted them to go on and take the trip, but they refused. And I guess like the guy was kind of getting a little strong on them. Like, and there's people in the village that says, yeah, he's kind of a little too much. So they go out by themselves and with the people who are letting them stay in their house. Their dog, Old Blue, like I think the dog's name is either I've seen Blue and I've seen Azul. It was probably Azul because it's Spanish for blue, but it's just funny that taking their dog Blue on a hike. And this happened April 1st when they go on the hike. Okay. And they have a Facebook message that says that they're going out in the morning and that they had breakfast with two Dutch guys too, I think. Okay. Because this area is actually like, it's like the Florida of Panama. It's where people go for retirement and where tourists go.
No, when I went to like Honduras, there was like I learned that there's like a German population there. Like not a crazy condensed, but there's like Germans that just go there.
So it's probably like that, except for like with Dutch people.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But it's a pretty touristy area, and it's actually, I guess, Panama. That area is actually supposedly safer because I've heard bad stories of missing people in Central America that do not turn out good.
I mean,
or
yeah,
stories where people almost go missing.
Well, I don't really know too much about Panama other than like the Panama Canal and all that. Like,
yeah, I know.
I never really looked into it.
Like Nepal, nice quiet Nepal, Panama. Anyway, they go on this hike. It's supposed to be, I guess it actually is quite, it's a more intense hike because they're in the rainforest. So, but there's trails, and they never come back at night. The dog comes back, but they don't come back. So the family they're with is immediately like, we need to get people out there. So like, I think by the next day there was actually villagers going out and searching for them. And there's different accounts of what the police did.
Yeah.
The police say that they were out the day after and doing searches, but a lot of the villagers said that the police didn't get there till the 6th.
So what day was that on?
What do you mean?
You said April 2nd, did you say?
April 1st was when they went on the hike.
So it was just a big April Fool's Day joke.
Oh yes, it was. It was a big April Fool's Day.
That just lasted,
I don't
the
think
whole
they
week.
have that in Panama.
Oh, that's right.
No,
so it took them 5 days. Dude, what's with these police stuff?
That's what some of the villagers said, that the police weren't really helping out. And that's because the family got there. The family flew down from the Netherlands of one of the girls, if not both of the girls. And they offered a $30,000 reward for anybody to like find her right then and there. And like $30,000 in Panama is like,
a lot of
you're
money.
like a millionaire pretty much in Panama with that kind of money. Because they're still like a third world / developing nation.
Yeah.
So there was a ton of people out there. They got the cops out there and nothing. It wasn't, they just disappeared. 10 weeks later, somebody from an indigenous tribe finds the backpack of the girl, and the backpack is in like good condition. And it's got some clothes in it. It's got a water bottle, $83 in cash, and both of their phones.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is where it starts getting a little crazy.
Okay.
So from
Hit me with it.
the phone records, they tried to make emergency call like 2 or 3 hours into their hike. Like it was their first emergency call, and they tried to call. They tried to call whatever the 911 is out there.
Okay.
They were trying to call the emergency line though for days, like so, and it was over. I think I read something that was 70 times, but there's other thing that was 70 times, so I don't think it was that many times for they tried to call.
Dang.
But they tried to call a lot, and based on their phone records, I think it was Lisanne Froon's her phone. For like the 1st to the 5th, it would turn on periodically, check for a signal, and then try to make a call. None of these calls but one went through, and it got through for like 2 seconds, then it cut out because there's no reception.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's when Chris Kremer, her phone started turning on and trying to make calls. And the thing with that is that whoever had the phone couldn't get into Chris's phone. It said somebody tried to unlock it like 77 times.
Yeah.
So, but you know how you can still make calls even though you can't unlock a phone? And yeah. So, and that phone was trying to make calls up until April 11th. So and what's crazy about that too is that phone has 90 pictures on it during that time.
Oh.
Yeah. And like what's crazy about these pictures, there's like a couple of them from early on in the hike where they're smiling, kind of they're They're doing Facebook photos pretty much.
Yeah.
Classic. That's what they look like. Classic. Hey, look, we're in Panama. Facebook photos.
Did you actually see any of these pictures?
Yeah, some of those are out there. We're gonna have to like put them up for people because the rest of the 90 are just random pictures taken in the dead of night, just with random like bushes and trees and like pieces of trash. Just those kind of photos. Like nothing, none of those 90 photos has like anything in it. One of the photos has like the back of her head in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and people were saying maybe she was looking for a bruise or something and was just trying to use the phone. But none of the photos were in the daytime. They were all at night.
Yeah.
So people were wondering if whoever had the phone was using it, for a light.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of doesn't make sense to me. Because even if it's not locked, usually you can turn the flashlight app on and off.
Right. Maybe they wanted to conserve energy.
Conserve battery, yeah. But why would they only be taking them at night?
Because that's when you need the flash.
Well, usually you would hunker down at night, though.
Oh, true.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you're out there for days, you're not going to be going anywhere at night.
Right.
I mean, from what I saw, there's not a whole lot of, I think the jaguar is like kind of the big predator. There's a lot of poisonous snakes and spiders and scorpions.
Did you read up anything on like chimpanzees or some junk like that?
What do you mean? Like if there's like killer chimps out there?
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that out
You think Joe Rogan makes all those like chimpanzee jokes? Like, because they're not like killers, bro?
But I was like wondering, like, well, maybe like, they felt like a spider or a snake or something. We're just trying to light it up to see if they could like something happen,
You said like 90 photographs?
90 photos, dude.
And the majority of them were that?
Like all of them after a certain point were just in the night.
Right.
Like I said, somebody was trying to make emergency calls up until 11th when the battery died, but they couldn't get in the phone.
Yeah.
So people are suspecting that Chris Kremers was already dead by that point. So anyway, this backpack shows up 10 weeks later.
10 weeks?
10 weeks later after they went missing and everybody's done searching.
Not days, weeks.
10 weeks later.
That's insane.
And it's in good condition.
Yeah.
Which some people are a little questionable. And then a little after that, I forgot how many weeks after that, but then they find some remains and some clothing. They found 33 bones. They didn't find any big bone. And all the bones didn't have any bite marks or anything on them. They said they were clean. And they found the bodies the DNA of 5 different people. And 2 of them were Lisa and Chris.
Okay.
So, but by that point, the Panama or the police, the rescue people determined, even after all that it was just that they had just had a hiking accident.
That can mean so many things, though.
And the place where their bodies was found was near a river, but it was way off the trail. And like I was reading up, and there's people like, yeah, if you're in the rainforest, you don't go off the trail into a rainforest, like because it's just so dense and there's just so much
death literally every foot.
Yeah, like so. That's.
I mean, by getting like just these crazy kind of thriller movie pictures for the past 5 minutes in my head. Shoot, that's insane. Honest speculation. Here's my 2 main theories that happen with that. One, wild animals might have like injured, maybe killed one or something, like one of the girls, and then they were just trying to get away or something like that. 2, side thing, when I was in Honduras, it's a whole different world down there. And I was with one of like the pastors for this church, like one of the leaders for the church. And there was like, it's so beautiful there. There's like mountains and everything. And right where I was, there was like a mountain range, but this big mountain right next to us. And when it was smoky, he'd always make a joke like, the gorillas be grilling. Like the gorillas are grilling, like actual gorillas. He's like, no, thugs, like people with guns. Like that's where all the degenerates go and stuff. So that's my other idea, is that they were basically attacked by just bandits. There's the perfect word. And yeah, because you don't just find a perfect condition backpack.
That was that was my thought too when I heard that an indigenous tribe person found them. Like, oh, there's an indigenous tribes up there.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't play by any rules.
Right.
And who knows what some of the people did. So that was my first thought too, and I'll actually give you some more info. I was just kind of wondering at this point what your theories were, because when I heard about that, I was like, when I heard that their first emergency call came just hours after, that meant they were probably being chased.
Right.
And the fact that I think they found them 5 miles off the trail or something like that.
Oh, it wasn't even that deep in the. Oh, off the trail. Okay.
Off the trail.
I was thinking 5 miles from the.
I think it was like 9 miles from the start of the thing. So it wasn't that bad, but also you're in the rainforest.
That's quite a hike.
So, but it's like, how could you? I guess you could get lost if there's a lot of forks in wherever you're going. Yeah. And if you're unguided. But I mean, people say that these girls were on the smarter side of life, even though they didn't have. I would never be going in.
Oh heck no, dude!
I mean, maybe that's just because I've heard too many stories of some of the people that live in some of these countries, like the gorillas, the thugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've heard about some of them things and some almosts. So I would never go out without a guide. Because I'm sure the guides probably know some of the indigenous people and kind of have deals with them, kind of like. Oh yeah. But like you're probably fair game. It was just crazy and that's what a lot of people said too. Was like the cops are trying to like cover up to make it seem like it was like an accident and not that it could have been something. Because that's like a touristy area, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, so they probably knew they were rich.
So, yeah, well, they wouldn't want to frighten off tourists, being like, hey, there's people getting killed there.
Right. But it's the perfect cover-up off the trail in a rainforest. Never knew what happened.
Yeah, and then the thing, too, that I thought was weird about the phone was, like, if you were with somebody, like... Why wouldn't they tell you how to unlock your phone? Yeah. To make calls or to do anything? Mm-hmm. So I know that they were making emergency calls, but with all those random photos, I wonder if the girls even had the phone. I wonder if they were even still alive at that point or if it was some indigenous person using it as a light. Yeah. And not knowing how to function the phone. So I thought that was really weird. Like,
yeah, I'll have to see that picture of, like you said, them.
You're gonna have to see
back
some
of the head.
Yeah, we're gonna have to show some of the random pictures of that were taken. But yeah, it was weird where the thing was. Let me see if there's anything else crazy in the notes. Yeah, the mysterious backpack showing up and.
Perfect condition.
They also found like their clothes, and some people say that they found it in a river. Other people say that they found it closed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they never found any of the big bones either.
I mean, yeah, that could be like actually indigenous tribe. That could be animals too.
Yeah, they only found bits and pieces. Yeah, that's true. And some of them, they almost looked like they were cleaned or bleached. Like some of the people that were looking at the bones said that they were like treated with lime to like clean them. Yeah. Like that it could have been a natural, but it almost looked unnatural with how clean some of them were.
Yeah, I don't know too much about a headhunter tribes in Panama.
But so that was.
Couldn't say.
I have a map here. Maybe we'll get that up too. Political. So one of the things that I found interesting, though, 2020, January 17th this year, there was a cult that was found in Panama. I don't know if it was the same area, but it was really an indigenous cult.
Dude, those are crazy.
Yeah, they were sacrificing people.
Oh, man.
And all this stuff. And, like, it was so remote that they had to helicopter in to the village because it was so far in the middle of nowhere. And there was, like, 15 people they had against their will. Yeah. And they had, like, found, like, a mass grave of, like, 10 people. So I don't know if that was around where the girls were, but that's why I was like, this sounds like it was something like that. Yeah. Like,
I can believe it.
But in the end, no one knows what happened to him. No one. I mean, I assume they were being chased because if you're on a trail, you don't leave the trail.
Right.
Yeah, I've only done hiking around here or in the Smokies, and I know even the Smokies, like some of the, because they're the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
So the hills are like, there's some pretty unsteady things where it's like if you fall, you're going down the side of a cliff, you know, and there's bears out.
Right.
So, yeah, you never go off the trail though, if you have no idea where you're at, and if there's something that happens, you immediately turn back.
Right.
Because you know where to go back. And that was like, yeah. If one of them had an injury or if one of them died or something like that, the other would have ran back unless there was something keeping them from going back. Right.
Which is based off that evidence and like how they found the backpacks and stuff.
Yeah.
My guess is totally
like apparently they found them like near like a rice paddy or something, the backpack, but it was in good condition and the phones were working. Like they wouldn't have been working if they were in water.
Oh no, if it was like an animal attack, everything would be ripped up.
Yeah.
If it was like a chimp going at it, you know? But,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at least your story has like some speculation.
Yeah, because there's just so much that, you know, like.
I mean, mine was like random.
Here's something somebody noticed. Yeah. During the 11 days they used their electronics, they never attempted to make phone calls outside of business hours, which is a little weird. Like, you know, like 8 to 5, 9 to 5. Like, that's just because I'm reading, because I went through and some of the, like, just put down some of the weird stuff people had said. And so they're wondering if, like, people were purposefully trying to call to make it sound like they were okay, or they just needed help.
Yeah.
But some people were also saying that there was the local tour guide that they refused to hike. Like they were saying that he might have like just out for revenge, kind of like, you ever seen Rat Race?
Yeah.
Where they go and ask directions to the squirrel lady, and she's like, "You want to buy a squirrel?" And then they're like, "No, we don't want to buy a squirrel." And then she's like, "Okay, these are the directions." And then her directions like lead them to a ravine, and there's like all these dead bodies of people that got lost and didn't buy squirrels.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I was like, I wonder if the tour guide, like, hey, not going to take more business. I'm going to, but yeah, I still think the tribe thing is.
See, yeah, the thing like down there, everybody has connections.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Honduras, like one of our bus drivers like knew one of the people we were with, and one of the people we were with knew that guy was part of like an area where thugs live and stuff. And his family was kind of like not mafia, almost like gang stuff. So yeah, everybody knows everybody down there.
I totally forgot you went to Honduras.
Yeah. It's blast.
Man, that's kind of cool because gives some first-hand knowledge of central third world country.
It's a different world. It's relatable, but it's like our society mixed with like almost like a third world country.
Yeah.
Like it's familiar, but at the same time it's pretty whack. It's pretty whack. But yeah, that's what we got for this week. Missing persons. I mean, it's not paranormal or things like that, but
they can't be. There's some that. But a lot of them, like once you start looking, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of. I was looking for some that sounded really crazy paranormal, but I'm like, they're like, oh, okay, it could have been, but I just thought this case was really interesting. So, yeah.
But yeah, that's what we got for you this week. Nothing crazy, but it was interesting. I'm sure you had.
I had a blast.
I'm sure you had quite a bit more fun researching it.
Dude, you should have just looked for. Yeah, there's some. I had like 3 of them. I got some more, because there was just some other crazy ones.
I'll have to do some crazy missing persons, or maybe like a free for all week where we just come up with a random, not come up, but we find a random story.
We should roll some dice to do that. Maybe we'll do that next week, though. We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Gotta do a hard quit.
But we gotta do a hard out of here.
Hard out.
Gotta ask you some tough questions. And all right, you gotta know. All right, that's time. All right. But yeah. Again, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Yeah, good stuff.
On the Midnight Odyssey.
This has been a production of The Midnight Odyssey. If you like what you listen to, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as we release more content for you. If you're listening to podcasts only, please subscribe. But for both of you cool cats and kittens out there, if you could share it to people you think you would like or enjoy podcasts like this, we would appreciate it because we love what we're doing here. And yeah, you have a fantastic rest of your day.